the NFL alumni with their annual charity golf tournament. We're delighted to be joined by NFL Hall of Famer Jack Youngblood. Jack, welcome back to Charlotte. Always great to see you guys come into town. And I'll tell you what, when you can still see people my age and maybe a little bit older, a little bit younger, when they see you guys, that brings back so many great memories from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. And you guys are usually great with the fans.
Well, you know, we're so appreciative that somebody can remember that far back. Right. A lot of things I can't remember anymore. But no, it's a real privilege for people to come up to you and say, you know, we watched you as a kid, and you know, we loved you, and you were, you know, I was Jack Youngblood when I was, you know, in the backyard and that type of thing. And it's a real privilege, and we're honored that still people can still remember.
One of your teammates is coaching with the Panthers, Rod Perry, defensive backs coach.
Right.
Talk about Rod a little bit. I was kidding with him one time about there's that picture of Lynn Swann making some catch in I think it was the Super Bowl.
Right.
Some big game you guys played in. He
Unfortunate.
goes, don't ask me about that play. Talk about Rod. What was he like?
One heck of a player for, you know, what's Rod, 5'9", maybe 5'10", but one heck of a player, one student of the game, and you know, I was fortunate to have him as my back. I mean, so I knew that he was going to cover the receivers. He was going to give me time to get to the quarterback.
I want to get into your career, but I want you to talk about one other former Panther color analyst and fan. Of course, went to NC State, grew up in North Carolina, and that's Roman Gabriel. And you played with Gabe a couple of years before they shipped him over to Philly.
Came to the Rams in 1971. Gabe was still the quarterback there, and I walked into the dressing room the first time when I first met Gabe, you know, as a rookie, a 21-year-old kid, and I'm going, I didn't know they made quarterbacks that big. Great day. Because I knew nothing about the Los Angeles Rams coming from Florida and University of Florida. You know, they weren't on television. You know, it was the Atlanta Falcons or the Washington Redskins when I was in the 60s. So it was, you know, I rapidly gathered some information on who my teammates were, and come to realize that, you know, I had a pretty good team here.
And you were in playing. What was it like playing in Los Angeles? Because obviously, for our fans who might be too young, the Rams, who play in St. Louis now, used to play in Los Angeles. What was that whole thing like? Because you had the Hollywood influence, and you know, when you talk to a guy like Roman, he would do movies with John Wayne. Jack Snow was on Bewitched. I mean,
right.
There were other opportunities for you guys out there if you were successful.
There was, and that was always a tricky thing to try and balance. You didn't want to. You had to have that focus if you were going to play the game at the level that they expected you to play professional football. You had to focus on that, and then in the off season, you had 3 months to try and do something else if that was your interest. But it was there. The opportunity was there, and it was a great experience for me, especially, you know, young country boys coming out of North Florida, and you know, furthest I'd been west was Jackson, Mississippi. So it was quite an experience for me.
14 years with the same team. That's unheard of nowadays. I think you know, even Brett Favre was originally with the Atlanta Falcons before he settled in with the Green Bay Packers. But maybe that was more the norm back then, because you didn't have this free agency that players have now, the ability to bounce around teams. But that's a long time with one team.
Part of it is the economic situation within the league now, and that setup. Another part of it is I'm not sure these kids today really want to have and establish themselves a real home team, because the economics allows them to move, and so therefore they think they need to make a little bit more, which in reality they don't ever experience any of that money, because Uncle Sam's going to get it for you anyway. But you know, I was fortunate that they wanted me for that long, and was blessed with health and the ability to play at that level for that many years.
Tell us about the day you got the phone call that you were elected to the Hall of Fame.
Wow. What a day. After 12 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was a while.
12 years now. I had been on that ballot for 12 years. 10 of those years, I was the finalist. So it was, I was the Susan Lucci of pro football. I mean, you get nominated, no. But it was funny. Joe Horgan calls me and says, I want you to stand by. You know, this is number 12, and I don't know anything. Nobody knows anything really. He said, but I want you at the hotel across the street in Tampa. I can't remember the name of the hotel, but it was right across the street from where they were doing the voting. He said, and if you get elected, we want you to come and do the press conference. And I said, that's fine. He goes, our room is on the 14th floor. I said, oh, that makes it convenient. If I don't get it, I'm jumping. You know that.
Well, fortunately, you didn't have to jump.
Fortunately, I did not have to jump. And what else can you say? I mean, it's the greatest honor a football player could ever imagine. To be honored with, there's only 200 some of us that are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and to be considered at that level is beyond anything I ever imagined.
What did you feel like when that franchise was moved out of Los Angeles to St. Louis? Because I know talking to some of the guys who were L.A. Rams, and they tried to keep that when they built that stadium, the indoor stadium there. They were throwing up the names of the great players from the past up there. But St. Louis was a Cardinal. They were still upset that the Cardinals left. What was your reaction when that franchise moved?
Mixed feelings there. We understood why the franchise moved. Didn't understand the emotions behind it. Didn't understand the logic behind it, except for the economics. I mean, when you win in Los Angeles, they're the greatest football fans in the country. But you've got to win, and you've got to consistently win to keep them there with you. If not, there's too many other things in the world to do in Southern California. So we never had a problem with fan support. It has always been. In fact, if we went back right now, I guarantee we'd fill it up. We could fill up the Coliseum right today.
What are you doing now? Tell the folks what you're up to these days.
Well, I got a fuel oil additive company. Can't even say that.
How'd you get in
It's
that?
an ethanol fuel additive.
Okay.
And the hottest thing in the country right now is an alternative to this oil addiction that we have, and ethanol is going to be the answer to that eventually. And we're getting ahead of the curve, I think, and you'll see David Lyle's ethanol fuels on the shelves here shortly.
The Gators. Let's talk a little bit about the old college team. Not too bad this year. They got a kid from right here in Charlotte, Chris Leak, playing quarterback for them. How closely do you pay attention and you get back to see games?
Oh, we paid lots of attention to the orange and blue. I mean, once a Gator, you're always a Gator, and you bleed orange and blue. But we're real proud of them, and we're proud of what Urban Meyer's doing. I mean, he's bringing back some integrity and some discipline back to the game that I think that, to a certain extent, in programs across the country, we've lost some of that, and we're just proud that they're playing this. They're playing a heck of a tough schedule. I mean, the SEC that's a tough road to go down. And back to back, you got LSU, now we got Auburn. You got Georgia, it's just, day in, day out. But when you finish that road and you win, it makes it that much sweeter.
Jack Youngblood, thanks for coming to the Charlotte area and playing in the golf tournament. Great talking
My pleasure.
with you. Thanks for being with us for this edition of Sports Night at Nobles. And we'd like to thank the NFL alumni and Firethorn Country Club for helping us put this broadcast together. I'm Bill Rosinski. We'll see you next time.